It's coming up to 90 minutes after 4. It's the second hour of today here on ENCA. If you have just joined us, criminals in the construction sector must be convicted and sentenced. That's the plea from Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Lethiwe Mdluli, who says his department is working with law enforcement officials to ensure these cases are prioritized. Hundreds of people connected to the construction mafia syndicate have been arrested. Ian says Lethiwe Mdluli is following this story in Durban. She joins us live right now. A very good afternoon, Lethiwe. What has been the response from the police regarding the investigations?
Well, good afternoon, Will. What we do know currently is that over 700 people have been arrested for disturbing construction sites across the country. We heard this from the Minister of Public Works, Lethiwe Mdluli, who visited one of the construction sites here in KwaZulu-Natal that was disturbed last year, which is the Durban High Court. And when he was there, he basically inspected the place and gave an update as to where they are right now. We do understand that the Durban High Court, the construction there will finish in 2025. It was meant to finish a bit earlier, but unfortunately, because a construction mafia went in there sometime last year and stopped everything, the construction now is set to conclude in 2025. This is some of the reality that a lot of construction sites in the province are currently facing, where construction mafias go there and they demand 30% of the profits. And this is what government is trying to basically stop, but they are failing, if I can put it that way, because in speaking to the police here in KwaZulu-Natal, they did say that even though there are numerous investigations that are currently ongoing, unfortunately, most of the people or the victims of the construction mafias, unfortunately, do not want to come forward because they fear for their lives. Of course, these people, when they go there and threaten these people, they do say that they do carry big firearms, high caliber firearms, and unfortunately, because of this, police are grappling with the fact that they cannot convince anyone to come to them and open a case. And so the spokesperson for the police here in KwaZulu-Natal, Jay Naka, did share that there's a lot of cases that are just sitting there, and unfortunately people don't show up in court and they can't investigate if this happens. And unfortunately, we also spoke to the Department of Economic Development here in the province, basically just trying to get a sense of how much the province is struggling economically, because the economy is also impacted. The minister did share on Friday that 68 billion rand has been lost due to the fact that a lot of construction mafias are putting a stop to construction sites. But in speaking to the police about some of the problems that they are facing when it comes to convincing people who have fallen victims to these people, this is what they had to say.
Now, look, we have a number of projects that have experienced forms of intimidation and extortion, even damage to property, theft, etc. So there is a number of cases that are currently under investigation, a number of arrests, matters are court-going at the moment. But the biggest challenge we have, even with the arrests, is once we have arrested them, is getting the witnesses to go to court. Because they're intimidated, they don't turn up, they don't pitch up in court. In some instances, even when we make arrests, we're called out, the witnesses are intimidated and refuse to give us statements. So those are the challenges we're facing with, and you'll find that some of these cases are sitting on the court roll for a while because of the witnesses that are refusing to testify. So that's our biggest appeal. Even when we are called out to a site and there's a group there, we need someone to physically point out who's committed what offense so that we can arrest them. And that is where the challenge is. People will sometimes come to us and say they're prepared to open a case, but they don't want to give us a statement or they don't want to testify. So that is the biggest challenge, and that is why we have this forum in place, that we're sitting with these construction companies and discussing these challenges that we need to address.
Is it not worrying, Lethiwe, that this is the status quo? I mean, are there any construction sites that have been stopped in the province recently?
Well, as we speak, one of the best performing schools, Menzi High School, there were refurbishments that were taking place at that high school. And in speaking to the MEC for Public Works here in KwaZulu-Natal, Sipho Nkosi, he did share that unfortunately a construction mafia went to the school and stopped that project. So unfortunately, they had to stop, and he is saying that they're going to be engaging with some of the business forums in Umlazi because this is where the school is located. So these are some of the projects that are affected. We also do know that there is a project in Pietermaritzburg that the MEC said also has been stopped. So there's a number of projects that are currently not taking place or continuing because these construction mafias are demanding that 30%. And unfortunately, when I asked the MEC whether it's time for them maybe as government to take drastic measures to try and deal with this, he did share that for now they are trying to have engagements instead, and where they find that there is resistance, they then bring in some of the resources that government has to try and get a hold of the situation. But unfortunately, what I'm getting from government right now is that they're trying to have engagements with these business forums who strong arm their way into these construction sites. And like I mentioned, one of the best performing schools in KwaZulu-Natal had to basically fall victim and allow for these people to come in and just stop that refurbishment that is currently taking place. So this is what we're dealing with as a province currently. But in speaking to the MEC about some of the projects that have had issues previously and currently, this is what he had to say.
On the hijacked projects, we have been told about the Aloe Ridge project in Pietermaritzburg. We are engaging with our municipality there, the Msunduzi, so that we find out what is it that is involved there and thereafter unblock that one. But what we want to make it clear is that it is illegal for anyone to occupy someone's property without permission. If we find out on that one, we negotiate for the people to vacate. If they don't, we go to the resources of the state. But at the moment, we haven't dealt with that problem.
That's our ENCA reporter, Lethiwe Mdluli, live to us in KZN. Thank you so much.